Hello, good morning, or good afternoon, or even good evening. Okay. Now, today I wanted to, first of all, I want to clarify something. The reason why I am not talking about my own country, Portugal, in these live streams, it's because I'm doing it in English. And I do have a project that I'm working on to have a channel just to speak in Portuguese, of course, and another one perhaps in French or German. But I would just like to clarify this is the reason why I only talk about Portugal when there are relevant um, relevant subjects that are related to it or that I can use as an example, or events like, for example, the power outage and all of that. But this is the reason why I choose to keep things separated, because I'm not going to talk about Portugal and speaking in English, because that would be a bit of a, I would not call it a treason, but an unethical act. Okay, because it's not just the Portuguese that speak Portuguese. Okay, Brazilians speak Portuguese. A lot of Africa speaks Portuguese. A lot of people around the world, even in India, speak Portuguese. Okay, and in Japan, for example, or in China. So to be talking about specific issues related to my country in Portugal, that sorry, specific issues related to my country at the local level, at the national level, that are not related at all or marginally related to the outside world would be a bit of another statement. I would be exaggerating. I would be treading in into waters I don't want to, especially speaking English. But I will do it speaking Portuguese because I also think it's important, and I will probably have another channel related to this one in which, pardon me, I will speak Portuguese, and as I said, perhaps another one in French or German. In German, it's a bit harder for me because I have not spoken it in a long time, and I sometimes miss the vocabulary. Meaning, if we are speaking in German, after a couple of minutes, I will roll into it, so to speak. Okay, but I need that extra time to remember the vocabulary because you see, I speak English almost every day. Okay, I speak French also on occasion, and German I really only speak it when I'm speaking, for example, with my nephews that I insisted that they learned German also, and it has helped them, especially the oldest one that works in the tourism area. Okay, he even has a degree in tourism. But when do I speak German? Well, sometimes when helping someone that is clearly German or that needs directions, something little like that. Okay, because I am in the country where people, majority of people, of course, speak just Portuguese, and a significant part of the population, I would say everyone under 50 or even under 60 speaks at least one or two more languages than the national one. Okay, so usually English, French, or Castilian, more so English and French, and some that also speak German. Okay. Just to get that this little point out of the way. Now, today I decided to make a little video about the UK, about the relationship between the UK and the EU, the latest developments with the, how can I call it, with this further deepening of the relationship between the EU and the UK in order to facilitate trade and the movement of people. Now, first of all, what you got to understand is not to let yourself be lulled into some kind of false agreement by the UK media. Number one, because the UK media, I would say it's 99% propaganda, and they answer to lobbies. Okay, that is the only reason why you see everything every day in the news. A person like Nigel Farage, that was a part of UKIP, that was an integral part of the Leave movement, that lied, and this I can say without any kind of worries, because if he said everything would be the same and nothing is the same, then he lied. Okay, and don't get me started on the. This is not the Brexit I voted for, my friends. You voted for it. I'm sorry. I'm not saying all of you voted for it. I'm not saying some of you were fooled or let yourselves be fooled into it. Okay, or some of you honestly believed it was the best thing for your country. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the fact. And the fact is, a majority voted to leave in that referendum that then the Tories applied in the way they saw fit. This is an absolute truth. It's like gravity. Okay? You can tell me I don't believe in gravity, and I tell you, jump off a building. If you don't believe in gravity, if it doesn't exist. Oh, it's air friction. Okay, maybe it's the pixies in the hills and King Oberon. For God's sakes. But facts are facts. Okay, what do we have now? We have a UK that has its economy deeply, I mean deeply destroyed, and I'm being honest and I'm being calm. And you tell me, but we still have a high GDP, we still have a lot of money, and I say, okay, so you have a lot of money, but do you have it? Does your small business has it? No, only the people that are above you. The people that still can afford a rather expensive house in London, okay, water, uh, to still have a large house in London that still can afford to go on vacation, okay, because money continues to roll, no? And money is invested, and with the rich people not paying taxes, so people not paying taxes on property, so the money continues there. The issue here is the damage to the future of the economy, the future of farming, the future of manufacture, the future of scientific research. If you don't know this, I can tell you a lot of scientists that were either British or working in the UK have slowly drifted away to inside the EU. And this latest agreement, let's call it, you can call it that because it's inside the parameters of the TCA, but let's call it an agreement. But is this agreement that the EU has now achieved with the UK? Okay, this agreement does not change that really. It does not change that really because the power centers, in terms of scientific and economic expertise, they will continue to move as they have been moving into the EU. And this is natural, okay? This is not a question of country A hating country B or the countries in the EU now trying to get some kind of revenge over the UK. It has absolutely nothing to do with this. In most of the European countries, you will not find hostility against the UK. You will find a lot of indifference that perhaps you consider to be hostility. But the truth is, if something has no influence in this case, a country, if a country has no relevance in your economy, why would you talk about it? Why would you be interested in it? If you ask anyone here in the street about Brexit, first of all, people have to think a bit about it. Oh, you mean that thing of them leaving the EU? Who cares? Okay, this is the reaction here. People simply don't care. Okay, I know this may come to a shock to some of people in reform that still think the UK has some kind of empire or something like that, or that still has some kind of relevance in the world stage when lately it has only been a puppet in the hands of the US. Sorry to tell you this, but it's true. Okay, for a number of reasons. One of it is, for example, that the UK was still paying war loans not so long ago. That is also a reason because you continue to talk about the special relationship, but the special relationship it did not extend to money. Okay, the US could perfectly forgive him that debt if there was that special relationship. The special relationship is basically when they need you, the Americans will tell you some bullshit story or give you a carrot and you will jump. Simple as this, okay? And don't think it's some kind of pride thing or whatever. It's just business, okay? And for them, for the Americans, it's just business. Right now, for the first time in 60 years, they have a president that is all about emotions, and that is an extremely bad businessman. But the Americans were the ones that elected someone that has pretty much bankrupt all the business he was involved in. So, what can one expect of that person? I would not trust him, but this is me, okay? And again, look, when you hear me talking about these things, and I have been reinforcing this idea because I don't want to have any misconceptions that I'm spreading misinformation or that I'm even offending anyone, because that is not the purpose of my videos, okay? The purposes of my video is to talk about things, to give my opinion on things, to maybe help someone to build up their opinion on something, to maybe wake up the curiosity of someone to investigate a subject from another perspective. Look, this is basically what I'm not earning 1 cent with these videos, okay? You can say I'm probably just imagine me as the guy sitting next to you in the cafe and they're talking about something and I'm giving my input on it, okay? And I hope I can help anyone, okay? Or distract people, from their from their daily issues. This is really what I'm doing here, okay? If you come here for some kind of if you come here from some kind of conspiracy world where everyone is out to get something from the other, not me, okay? No, no. I work for a living and thank god that I have a job, so I don't do this for money. Now let's continue with the issue here in the video. Now I was talking about the agreement, and number one, the UK is not forced to give some kind of humility. Pardon me. This is why I'm drinking a bit of water. Lasagna for lunch in the summer is a bit heavy. But the UK was not forced to humiliate itself before the EU to get something. And neither did the EU have to give any kind of extraordinary concessions to the UK. It's just business. And people have to learn this, and people have to learn how to separate their emotions from pragmatism and from facts. So, what did the UK really do? The question of the fisheries. Okay, yes, but it also got a lot of from it. You know? Right now, you already have British fishing vessels unloading their cargo in Europe. At least from what I saw in the Netherlands, I know there are a couple of companies that are already accepting it. So this is good for those people, for those boats that sometimes they could not sell absolutely nothing inside of the EU. And now they can. They just take their catch, they sell it in the EU, and they earn money. Money that they will then pay in taxes in the UK, and that will they will pay their employees. They will buy fish and chips in the local fishy, all these things. So this is good for the UK. No except British waters. You have to make concessions. Everyone has to make them. Portugal has to make it. Spain has to make them. France has to make it. The Netherlands, Norway, everyone does it. Only the conditions vary according to a series of conditions and negotiations, and this is absolutely normal, and this will always be like this. Okay? The Erasmus program. Of course. Why wouldn't the UK dump the other program that they that had some very mild results, almost insignificant, and re-enter the Erasmus? Okay. It only benefits the UK also. UK students, they can come here, they can study here, they can learn here, they can create connections here, even for their future jobs. And if you think their future jobs won't be to work here, or if you do not, if you think that English, no, British sources of information won't be becoming, how can I say this without being impolite? Not irrelevant, because they will never be irrelevant, but secondary. Secondary in the sense that they will only exist if they work with the co-parts in the EU. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You can never have an absolute independent system of scientific investigation and medical investigation, even weaponry creation and development in the UK without having it connected to the rest of Europe. Why? Look, it's simple mathematics. Okay, I hear this very often for especially English people. They say they are from whatever region they are, then they are English, perhaps they are British, and they are never European. I know, I have heard this often. So you have this idea of the United Kingdom as a separate entity from the rest of Europe, an idea that Ireland does not have, for example. But you want to know what the UK is, what the so-called British Isles are. I would call them Celtic Isles. I think it would be more appropriate. But do you want to know what you are? Space, the geographical space where you live. You are on an island in a peninsula of a continent called Europe, and both Europe and Asia form Eurasia. Okay, that is all that you are. You are a tiny island, not so tiny, but an island. You are an island near a continent of which you are part. Look, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. You say, oh, we have an unique culture. You suffered the same invasions we did. Even Portugal had Vikings around here. Okay, we had the same Germanic invasions in the times of the Roman Empire. Okay, you are too far north to get involved with the Moors, but we have to. Okay, but basically, we are all the same. Your language, English, is so different from other Germanic languages because you have Latin, you have Celtic, and you have French in your language. A lot of influences. And your rulers, the first rulers, they were French. It was a historical, how can I, it was an historical accident that you all did not end up speaking French. And if you know your history, you will know that up until a very later time in your history, even your rulers, most of them spoke French and German. The current royal family is of German accent, just like the Portuguese one was, for example, that also had a mix of Germans. Okay, just like your Queen Victoria, she was the grandmother or aunt to most of the royal families in Europe, including the Portuguese. Okay, so this is uh, trying to separate British history from European history is just as stupid as trying to separate Portuguese history from European history, or German history, or French, or Russian history. It's all a ridiculous saying. And this attitude that you have will only make it hard for you to improve your country. If, for example, if you go into a negotiation with an attitude like the Tories of being this, we have nothing to do with these people, but you will lose. You will lose. In the past, you would send a man of war to reinforce your opinion. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work, and when it worked, it was temporary. But right now, you can't do this. If you try to do some things, like Mr. Farage is saying, of sending the ships back and doing this and doing that, you will have the French Marine force ready to respond. And if you think this is very far fetched, it would never happen or whatever, you are sadly mistaken, okay? The people that are telling you to turn the ships back, they have absolutely no idea of what they are talking about. The UK, what the UK needs. Look, you can, it's your right to repatriate each and every migrant that arrives at your shores. But you have to do it on your tab, on your money. The French are not doing anything because, number one, they are legally banned from it. Number two, they don't trust you because you, and when I say you, again, I'm talking about politicians, I'm talking about governmental agencies, I'm not talking about the people. Okay, please understand this. But, no one can trust you. And one of the good things this, I will continue to call it agreement, has is that it shows a sign on the part of the UK on wanting to have a serious discussion and not just this no 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 no, because if you do this no 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 no, you know what the answer of the other European countries is? Guess they just no, they roll down the window of their cars. You want to talk, blah 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 blah, they close the window of the car and the car moves on. Why? Because we can do it. Even with all this mess with the United States, you look, the Portuguese defense minister, he was just now in the French Expo talking about the planes, the jets that he is buying for Portugal, for example, and how he was able to sell some other models that we had and earn enough money to finance the current development of our air forces. He was talking also about the production of drones and another stuff. Is he saying, "Oh, we will only build things in Portugal. We will only"? No, you have to be pragmatic. There are things we can do, and we do it very well, and there are things we have to go and buy it from the French, buy it from you, and we won't buy them from the Americans for the reasons that we all know. You all know that some of your nukes have ships in them, failsafes, that allow the Americans to stop you from using your nuclear power. At least a part of it, not all of it. But you do know this. And there were rumors. To this day, I still am unable to confirm it, so I will call it rumors. I heard it from a lot of places. Okay, and where is smoke is fire. But I still have not seen unequivocal proof that it actually is happening, that the Americans are actually putting chips in their F-36. I don't know it, but I wouldn't be surprised about it because if, but in the nukes, oh yes, I have seen documents, I have seen paperwork online, and in my opinion, that is true, at least to an extent. And I'm not saying, for example, that the British Air Force has discovered it and has removed it or whatever. But these are serious things, okay? But as I was saying, this agreement is excellent for the UK. And then they were talking about the e-gates. Look, if you come to vacations here in Portugal, you know that it's much quicker for you to enter here in, as a tourist than in other places in Europe. And this is because we adopted a system that a lot of European countries are also going to adopt, at least until the ETS is fully working. It has had a couple of issues. That is simply to begin the processing of certain citizens, for example, from the UK, from your country. When you try to enter in Portugal via the airport, via your air company, whatever, you are already beginning the process. When we know that Mr. F wants to travel to Portugal, his data in the because we have a highly informatized, computerized society, okay, courts, police force, taxes, home security. It's We have a very developed computerized society. Okay, informal using how do you sell it? Oh God, now I'm missing the word. Using computers and all that crap, having everything online and a lot of stuff. So it's much quicker to process something. And most of the times, I don't know how they are doing it now, but you arrive, they grab your passport, they digitalize it, and off you go. No stamps, no worry. Sometimes some stamps if you are going to travel to another country or whatever. But it's rather simple. And do you think this is some kind of favor? Like, for example, that guy that Toyd Marx used to say about the e-gates. Go in Portugal, we still use the e-gate. Do you think this is some kind of favor? It's a favor to us because it's much simpler to do this quickly than to do it slowly. Do you have any idea how many people enter in this country? For example, in this period now, in summertime, in the Easter, millions of people, millions of tourists. And we want people to arrive at the airport, take care of their business, with our security also it taken into account, and want people to go about their life. No one, look, if you come here and you are polite, you follow the laws, you are not disturbing anyone, you can perfectly be a tourist here. Why not? The issue here is now it's a bit different for the ones in from the UK that come here and are assholes. It's a bit different, and the consequences are much harsher. Because whereas, for example, for a more serious matter, for example, an European EU citizen can be identified, processed, and then sent in liberty, for example, to await the trial, and that person can even be trialed in their home country. In the case of the UK, no. So if you commit a serious offense here, you will be jailed preventively to avoid you from running away. I'm talking about serious things. There are other things. For example, if you come in your own car, whatever, and you get a traffic violation, if you are an European citizen or Portuguese citizen, you can delay the payment for I think it's 15 days or something like that. If you are a citizen of the UK, no, you either pay the fine immediately, or your car will be impounded. These are things that come with the turf of not being a part of the EU. But these are all things that can be improved over time. Look, the UK will never have the same rights, same privilege as a EU citizen, as long as it is not a EU member. But there are things that can be facilitated, that can be improved, but for which you, the UK, have to give us something. Okay, we are not here to attend to your needs on our taxpayers' money. And this is the fundamental idea that you must have. We are not here to punish or do whatever the. I hear the rhetoric from the reform and from all those nutters. Okay, we are not here to punish anyone. We really don't care. If you are sitting in a cafe here and you are not being a loudmouth idiot or disturbing people and you're just having your coffee and enjoying the sun, do you think I care who the hell you are? Don't you think I have better things to do than worry about some guy sitting perhaps with his family enjoying the sun and having a coffee? Why? Just because they are speaking English? Who cares? Portuguese is my native language, but I also have another native language, let's call it like that, and I can speak a lot of languages. It doesn't bother me. It will bother some people here because some people are idiots. Because you have the reform idiots and we have our own idiots. Okay, and France and Spain and Germany and everyone has their set of idiots. The difference is that your idiots got you kicked out of the EU. That's the difference, and you have to deal with them. And what do? You continue to vote in the idiots. You continue, and like I said, the press, the media has a lot to do with this. But if you contested the media, and if you defended them, and if you did not watch them, and if you called them liars to their faces, and if you or even yourselves organized and created alternative media, then that corporate shit of lobbyists that you have, just like in the US, okay, make no look. I'm not saying it's just the UK. I'm talking about the UK, but I'm not saying it's just the UK. And I'm not saying it's perfect here. No, I am never saying that. But the issue here is you continue to give protagonism to people like Farage, like the Tories, even like some people in Labour. But the issue here is who is telling Mr. Farage You told me to vote in Leave. You told me things would be better. Just like no one said Boris to Boris, you said everything would be the same. And what do I see? I see the farmers still voting in Mr. Farage, who is very worried for the tax on property of farmers. Look, if you have land, you should pay taxes to the state. If you have a business, a farm, that business has to make money, or else you are not doing anything. Leave the land and let someone else farm in it. Oh, but it has been the farm of my family for years and years. And well, your family did a good job in keeping it until it arrived at your hands. Now work with it. People here, farmers pay taxes on their land, just like anyone else. Look, I will give you an example of someone that I know. Okay, a farmer. He was losing money with it. He grabbed a piece of his land and he created simultaneously a tourist place for people that wanted to just come and be near the wildlife, near the nature, and he put that to a side. And in the same place, physical place, whatever, he continued with his farming activity, which is mainly, in this case, this person, he has cows for milk and cheese and all that things, and he has grain and wheat and fresh vegetables, or an orchard, and some olive oil and cotry. Okay, he he grabbed this business and he made something out of it. And here, this is the important part. Here, the state supports this. He was given grants, but they were constantly on his shit, like they are always, seeing how are they spending the money. The UK, what support does the UK give to its farmers? If you are a farmer, please tell me. And this guy that is worried about people that are that have a lot of money invested in property because it's a safe investment, he's worrying about them. He's not worrying about you that are a farmer and work off the land. And he is not one of you. I know he wears the little hat and does all of that, but he's not you. He's a rich guy, a rich boy, one of those that never worked like the rest of us. See, hands of a working man. That is what he is, and you have to accept it. And he could be that and be an honest person. Okay, I'm not. Look, I have no issues with rich people. I really don't care. As long as they are not stealing it from anyone, as long as they are not corrupting the system like some are doing it, I really don't care about it. This is not a question of jealousy or hatred. Or no, that's not my thing. But the issue here is now you have that party, reform, climbing up the polls. Why? Because people were expecting Labour to be perfect, to make everything, all the things right. And Labour, instead of being honest, no, they fed that meat that they were telling you about, of reversing everything, of making everything right, of never reversing the Brexit promises that up to this day I still don't understand if they were promises or plain lies. He could not do it. And To tell you the truth, I don't trust the man. I've given my personal opinion on him, on Mr. Keir Starmer. I've given my opinion on him, but to say that the Tories or Reform are a better option, oh God, no, no. Starmer has common sense, but he should be more honest, and he should be more active in solving some issues in the British society, like, for example, the weight of the state that is filled with I call it Byzantine rules and procedures and benefits for MPs and for royals and for whoever has any whoever has money. Let's call it like this or whatever. That is ridiculous. You have to reform your state because you have to act like an almost look. Uh, all other countries did it. Portugal did it. Okay, Spain had to do it, and they also have a king. Okay, France did it. Germany did it. Okay, Russia tried to do it, and now they are back into the USSR again. The Nordic countries did it. You cannot live in a state that leads money to privilege without turning your citizens into slaves, basically. You have a choice. You either cut all of these facts that you don't need. Look, for example, why on earth does the British king own so much in the UK? He owns the shoreline, he owns the bottoms of the earth. Okay, he owns prof. He owns, and not just him. Him, his wifey, the brats. Okay, the cousins, the brother, the uncle, the blah blah blah. Stop it. Give the king a decent salary. Let him keep his properties in Balmoral or whatever he has, and the rest, it all goes into the dominion of the state. And from then on, all the profits that would be paid to the royal house from those things, they go to the state. Look, we killed our kings, but we still have the palaces, we still have the libraries, we still have the church, the cathedrals, the wealth. It's just giving money to the state. Tourists love the palaces, and we have beautiful palaces. We have beautiful palaces in the city of Sintra, for example. You have palaces in the city of Évora, in Lisbon, in Porto, in a lot of in Vila Franca de Xira. Okay, a lot of places, beautiful palaces filled with history. I have to say I'm honored that I visit most of them alone or with my parents. Okay, and it's a beautiful thing. It's our history. But the issue here is that when people enter in those palaces and they pay their ticket to come to enter, we are paying to ourselves. That money goes into preserving that history, to pay the salaries of the people that work there, and a million other things. While where does the money go? It doesn't go to the state, it goes to the royal house. And when people ask me about why I don't why I don't like the monarchy, here you go. The money that is produced inside the state either goes to the private citizens that work on it or it goes to the state. And the state needs sources of income. And right now, what is happening with the crashing of the economy and even the crashing in the stock in the city that has lost the privilege to do a lot of things that earn the city a lot of money. All those services are already in Europe, and here they will remain whatever happens in the future. Here they will remain because no one is going to take the chance of doing it again. But all of that crashed down. And who is paying the brunt of the issues of low capitalization of the state? The low classes and the middle classes. Because the people on top, without without a fortune tax, taxing the richer, those people, they are not paying anything. So what do? They accumulate their wealth and they get richer and richer and richer. While you in the bottom, you pay for everything. And this is not socialism, okay? Like I said in other videos, I'm not I'm not a leftist, not at all. I am someone that tries to have some common sense. The common sense is that this is happening. Who is paying more for their food, for their energy, okay, for everything? Who is lacking in services that are failing in certain parts of the country? Who? You. And instead of telling you where the problem lies, they create boogeyman like uh, things that are like I told you, they never lie. For example, immigration is actually a problem, but they turn a problem into some kind of apocalyptic event, and this is how they work. So, just to conclude this, you have to look at this deal that Mr. Starmer was able to negotiate as an excellent start. It's a good start, but don't fall into the trap of those in the right that are telling you they are surrendering to the EU. They are doing this. Because number one, there is nothing to surrender about. Number two, the EU could care less. And number three, they are lying. Lying. And I will tell you this again, and I am being completely honest. If you want to have a clear opinion on things, go to the EU site. Go to the European Commission, the European Parliament sites, and search around. They are available online. Okay? Search around and read the documents. Just like when I made that video about the TCA and I read it along with you. If you want to see that video, it's somewhere down here. Okay? But just like that. And when you read it, read the parts that you can interpret it. If you are unable to understand it, the language or whatever, try to see some video or something about someone explaining what that is. But don't fall into the trap of the easy words, of the easy, they surrendered the fisheries. Oh, doom, 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 Starmer is waving the white flag and that shit. Like I told you, I don't like Starmer much. But he is a much better option. And I'm not talking about the questions with Scotland. I know my Scottish friends have a lot to say about this. Okay, I know. I'm just being pragmatic and talking about these events in this situation. Okay, but the man, at least, he's trying. I did not like his attitude with Trump. He was very servile, in my opinion. No, he looked like he was worshiping the Dark One. But well, what are we gonna do? Maybe he bent the knee because he had to bend the knee. If that gets more food into a couple of British citizens' belly, I really don't care. Or I would not care if I was a British. I do care when they have a hostile behavior towards Europe that benefits no one, but especially it does not benefit the EU. The EU, sorry, especially it does not benefit the UK because the EU also has issues with it, but we solve them. Okay. Now I'm recording this the 16th of June. Okay, just to put in a little context. But I would say, and this I am saying this after I read the agreement. I won't go into the exact terms, but my idea is that this is an excellent beginning. It's an excellent beginning for everyone, for the tourists, for the kids studying, for the fisheries, for food production and importation and exportation. Okay, if the UK, for example, relents the control of certain food products that the EU exports into the UK, then from that moment on, the EU producers will have to follow the EU rules when they export to the UK, something that did not happen. This is why you had rotten chicken and you had other issues with food that came from the EU but was not proper to consume. Because we also have bad people here, okay? We also have people here that will do anything for a buck, like the Americans say, okay? And you have this way, by doing this, by relenting the control, that some of the people in the UK say it's a betrayal against Brexit, against our sovereignty. You're not relenting your sovereignty. You are asking the country that is exporting to you to export solely according to their own rules that are equal or, I would say, better, but the UK does not have bad, let's call it rules. They lack in a lot of aspects in the rules of orange and all of that, but they are not completely savages, okay? Let me be clear about it. But you tell them, you tell that Polish exporter, you can export your chicken here, but it has to be according to the rules. And you are putting the obligation on that exporter. So what is there to lose? The right of stamping each cargo that enters in your country with your approval seal? Really? Does that make you feel better? I don't understand this. But hey, you do your thing. But okay, I'll be ending this video. Thank you all if you had the patience to listen to my rant. I know I sometimes rant a lot, but look, I this is the way I like to talk. Now I like to take it slow. I like to be exhaustive in some things, sometimes too exhaustive. But I think it's important for us to talk, to listen. And if you have any opinions or comments, please drop them below. I promise you I will read them. I answer anyone, everyone, unless I get a bit oblivious and I forget. For that, I on in advance I apologize. Believe me, it's not my intention. And but if you are there to try to say things like someone that dropped that went into the trouble of dropping a comment that who cares about what Europe thinks, perhaps you are listening to me right now, don't waste your time. I will hide you, and then you can continue to insult solely me, but you won't disturb other people, and you won't be able to disturb me. It's just the way it is, okay? Uh, People that have emotional reactions, no, no, weird, unless we are having a laugh. Well, I hope to see you. Let's say, I hope you see me next one, and please be safe. Take care of of yourselves. Take care of your family, and just try to be. I don't know. Try to be happy. happy as you can.